Hey tumbleweeds, let's talk a little bit about fly ball and pop-up communication and how we're going to do that for our team. We're going to accomplish two things. Number one, we're going to stay safe and not collide with each other. Our fellow teammates and our wives and kids will appreciate that. And number two, this is just good baseball. I've even heard this backed up, aspects of this backed up by major league players. I heard Jimmy Rollins talking on Fox Baseball one time about even some of the more subtle aspects of this code. It's not complicated. Don't be intimidated. Ideally, we would practice this as a team, but you're going to get the sense of this just from this video, and then we'll go over it before the game for anybody that has questions, or you can post questions in the chat before the game. But in case somebody doesn't get to see this, we'll go over it in person. All right, so hierarchy is important. What's the rank on the field? That's going to come in to play as to who is going to take the ball and avoiding collisions. The top ranking guy on the field is the center fielder. All three of these magnets are larger than the infielders' magnets because they supersede anybody on the infield. These guys are dark pink and light pink. Sorry, right fielder, you're stuck with the same color as these two guys, which are the lowest ranking on the field. Between the two of them, for our purposes, because our catchers are not super experienced at catching pop-ups, there's some details that go into that. We're gonna let the pitcher outrank the catcher, but hopefully they don't come into play too much when it comes to pop-ups because these four outrank both of these guys. Okay, outfield outranks infield, infield outranks pitcher and catcher, pitcher outranks catcher. Within the outfield, center fielder outranks both corner outfielders. Shortstop, notice the two captains of the field are blue. Shortstop outranks all other infielders, and of course these two guys. Middle infielders, so that includes the second baseman in this case, outrank corner infielders. But, as we said, all infielders, including the corner infielders, outrank the pitcher and the catcher. All right, let's talk about why the ranking and the hierarchy is so important for communication, avoiding injury, and making a good baseball play. Let's say center field and left field, in our case that I believe is Eric and myself, Kurt. Let's say they're involved in a play on a deep fly ball to left center field. No one else is in on this play. It's brutally obvious that the shortstop has no play on the ball, third baseman has no play on the ball. Everybody else is out of it. What does that mean? If you're clearly out of a play, you don't need to communicate anything. All it's going to do is clutter the audible airspace. Use your head. These are the only two guys involved in the play. So, let's say they're both calling for the ball. I got it, I got it. I got it, I got it. Or you can say ball, ball, ball. Some people grew up saying ball, ball when they want to call for it. It doesn't matter, but use one of those two things. If you expand beyond that, communication gets a little tough when things have to be understood in a split second. So let's say Eric's saying ball, ball. I'm saying I got it, I got it. What do I do as the lower ranking outfielder? I submit, which means I change my call to a confirmation that I'm acknowledging him as the one to take the ball. How do I do that? Y-O-U. You. So I now am no longer saying I got it, I got it. I say you, and I peel off. Eric takes the ball and makes the catch. Notice I peel off. Some people might argue that this guy should hover around the ball just in case the ball goes off the end of his mitt and I could lunge for it and catch it before it hits the ground. Don't worry about that. Our team is not going to worry about that 1 in a million circumstance where I can prevent a ball that goes off somebody's glove from touching the ground. That is a much lower priority than our much higher priorities, which is get this guy out of the way so there's no collision. Okay, so again, they're both calling for it. That means the higher ranking guy should take it, and he will be able to go all out because I give him the confirmation, you. He can dive, he can run all out, he can lunge, he can do anything he knows. I will not be in his way. Okay, let's talk about the same two guys. Neither one of them is saying anything. You've seen that happen on the field, right? Cat's got your tongue. It's got both of their tongues. It happens because subconsciously we don't want to look like a fool. If we're not sure we can get to a ball, we don't want to look like a dork and have called for it and have the ball drop 10 feet away from us. So it just happens sometimes. What are we going to do if that happens? Well, if we're really on our toes, realizing the cat's got our tongue, either one of us can make a call. I'm clearly not confident I can get it, so I'm quiet. So I'm going to change my quiet to you. There's no harm in that. Because I'm the lower ranking guy. Now, a center fielder should be in a confident, aggressive mental state at every pitch anyways. Yadel delivers the ball. He's thinking aggressively already. So if we're on a cat's got your tongue play and nobody's saying anything, he's going to change his silence to I got it, or ball, ball, ball. And he's going to go all out for the play because he's going to hear me say you. I can either say you first and then he starts calling for it, or he can start calling for it and I'll confirm and say you. Either way, once both have spoken, the communication is clear and he goes all out for it without any fear of collision. Now, if the ball's between the two of us, just because he outranks me doesn't mean he's going to catch every ball between us. These balls coming to left out of a right-hand hitter's bat has some hook on it. So if I'm confidently calling for a ball, Eric, even though he's outranks me, he can submit and say you, and then I'll go all out for it. But the key is the two pieces of communication. In the end, no matter how the communication flows at first, in the end, as the ball approaches the fielders, one is calling for it and the other is confirming that he submits with Y-O-U-U. Okay, let's say the ball was, well, let's change spots over here. Let's say it's a ball into shallow right center. I'm not involved. Shortstop's not involved. Third base, all these guys are quiet. He's probably quiet too. He's not really involved. So if he's on his toes, he sees that it's going to be one of these three guys. He just stays quiet. Okay, our second baseman, our center fielder, and our right fielder are in on this play, or at least in the general vicinity. Let's say they're all calling for it. Immediately he knows he's outranked. He says, you. That doesn't necessarily mean anybody in particular. He just says it, and both other guys that are involved know that he's now peeling off. They don't have to worry about him. It's down to us. So now it becomes what we already discussed. They work it out, and whoever calls for it in the end catches it. The other one confirms you. Now, this is key for safety. This is not a win-at-all-costs baseball play, but this, what I'm about to say, is the aspect that will absolutely keep us safe. If the cat's got their tongue, but they're not thinking on their toes enough, because again, we haven't practiced together. If they're not thinking on their toes and everyone just stays silent, the cat continues to have their tongue, let the ball drop. Let the Cowboys have their hit. That's just how it's going to be. That way these guys know there won't be any injuries. If they just can't get a word out of their mouths, they've got to let the ball drop. In other words, they're both going to kind of take their eyes off the ball, look at each other. If nothing can be done, you just let the ball drop. Okay? So that's the basic principle. Let's go over one or two more examples. Let's say infield, pop-up. We had a collision between first base and pitcher one time because as a team, we hadn't gone over this. So somebody broke a bone. First baseman collided with the pitcher. So let's say same play. These two guys are both calling for it. Pitcher's in, he just threw a nasty slider and got a pop-up. He's pumped up, so he's like, I got it. First baseman's like, come on, dude. I outrank you. I got it. He changes to you, peels off, he makes the catch. Man, we need the maintenance crew to get out here and do some maintenance on this mound. Okay, pop-up between, well, let's say foul territory. If there's a pop-up here, one of our corner guys should come in and get that and take control. And let's say that third base outranks first. He sometimes has a weird glove, sometimes is a slower guy that we've put at first because he's a good glove, but he doesn't have great legs. So we're gonna let third base outrank first base. I got it, they're both yelling. Peel off, make the catch. You. If you've never done this before, don't be embarrassed to yell you. It's new. You're going to hear the guys that are in this game on our team that have done it before. You're going to hear us yell it. It's just a part of the game to us. So we just have to have everybody on the same page. That's all.